Good morning. I see someone is already here. I'm just breathing and thinking about what we will talk about today. It's always fun to see people come on before the top of the hour, and I appreciate all of you. As usual, I have many things sitting here. My entire table is covered with things, and I'm not sure exactly what we will cover once we start, but I have a lot of things in front of me in case. One of the things that I have noticed that for me is very important, I lined up some of the blends because they give me kind of a framework, is that I've been thinking this time to talk about riding the wave, how important it is for us to wake up. That this is a wake-up call. This is not something that is necessarily a plight. This is a wake-up call because we may not have paid attention in the past. So I'm going to use Awaken right now. If you don't have Awaken blend, use something that awakens you. And I also have the blend Clarity in front of me, as I feel that it is really important for us to gain some clarity here. I also have a whole array of crystals sitting in front of me. One thing I have is I have a glass filled, this is hand-blown glass from Bali, filled with the tumble stones, the 11 tumble stones of the crystals from the rainbow healing that anchor all of those frequencies, that hold those frequencies that they can enhance our own frequency. I also have two, not one, but two of my fluoride crystal wands or generators, whatever you choose to call them, with me because they do anchor that energy. They can hold that frequency of the sacred space. I also have a whole glass filled with tumble stones of aquamarine, which I have collected and been playing with. And I'm going to put, because our beautiful, beautiful Northern Lights Black Spruce holds this frequency of the aquamarine, which is the fourth glyph in the rainbow healing. The glyph of compassion, nurturing of self and others, and a perfect balance of giving and receiving. This is something many of us have forgotten about. So I'm going to just hold all of these tumble stones and intend that they hold that frequency so that as I interact with them, that energy, that frequency will come towards me to allow me to nurture myself and others, no matter what, finding that perfect balance of giving and receiving. So, it's past the top of the hour now, so I will actually begin what we are going to talk about today and try not to ramble too much, although I'm not sure where I'm going with this. I'm riding the waves. Riding the waves. I want you to use that metaphor. I am not a surfer, by the way. However, I do love the ocean. I love being in the ocean. I love watching the ocean. And sometimes that ocean is almost like glass. However, there are always waves coming in. The tides come in, the tides go out. And as I said, some of these waves are quite gentle. We can play them and ride them along, and we feel in harmony. It doesn't require a lot from us. Rarely do we fight these very little waves. Now, some of us find that these larger waves are really scary. And some people, the surfers, get excited. You see that gleam in their eye when they see that huge wave coming, because they choose to catch the wave of change. If we put this metaphor into our lives, this is change. Some changes are little, some are medium. Right now, we are in the process of living a massive change that affects every single one of us. I have right here beside me two massive golden honey, golden orange calcite rocks. These are the crystals that anchor that frequency of the breath of life, that frequency that will allow you to use that wave to understand, to make it a positive thing rather than a negative thing in your life. Because we can't fight it. Change is here. Truly, truly, we can give up the notion of fighting. So we can either learn just to allow it to take us wherever it goes, or we can get excited and use this period of change in a positive way. Now, just so you know, I started out this period of great change with all sorts of wonderful, wonderful ideas and plans and affirmations that I was going to do things, and I did. I thought this is a great period, and I talked about it, for journaling, for understanding more about what we truly choose to have in our lives. This is that perfect time. I used to dream of having time when I didn't have to go somewhere. I didn't have to adhere to a strong schedule. That this would be a time that I could really, really go within what it is that is most important to me and listen to my guidance from the source. Now, if you're following me, have been following me all along, you know that the refinement list and that morning awakening alignment and that integration are key to understanding more, to really, truly see who you are. Now, today, I drew my cards earlier this morning, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them, but one of them that I drew, the first one, the combination, was True Law, which is all about rising above manipulation. I also drew Crusader, the passionate leader, and to emphasize one of the glyphs that's in True Law, that authenticity, being authentic, understanding, taking off our masks, really uncovering who we truly are. What better way to do that than to go within? So, as I was going within and doing more and more of my journaling, boy, things began to come up, and it began to really be exciting. Some of them were not so exciting, because some of the blocks that have been holding us back will also be part of that comes up those emotions that come up as we're journaling. Now remember, whatever book you've chosen to write in, it really isn't imperative that you have any perfect type of a journal. If you just have a piece of paper, you will learn more about yourself if you first make that connection with the source and just start writing. A place to start writing for me is always to think about my refinement list. What do I choose to have in my life? And I have mentioned before, I'm going to look here. I have it in my journal, the very first page, because I want to be able to go back and look at it and find it and keep adding to it. However, I learned recently that if before I look at it, I do look at it every single day. If I will first write the first 3 things that come into my mind when I awaken, the first 3 things that I choose to have in my life at that moment, and the first 3 things that I just will not allow in my life. Now, does that mean that they're not there? No. It means that that's what I'm working toward, eliminating those things from my life. Having only those things that I choose in my life there, present in any given moment, and to eliminate the things that I really do not choose to allow to be in my life. So this is a process. It's a refinement process. And those first few days, as I said, I was writing a lot and learning a lot and feeling so grounded. One of my things on my refinement list, one that I choose, is to live in my sacred space. And as I show you in many of my videos, this is my visual, connected to the source, the creator, with boundaries, keeping all that chaos and the distractions outside, and having this harmony and peace inside. Living in that place of harmony. And the more that I focus on my refinement list and writing in my journal, making sure that I don't skip that morning alignment, that awakening alignment process, or the evening integration process, the more that I find that I do them, the more I seem to be calm and balanced and in my sacred space. Stephen calls this my flower world. And I'm perfectly happy calling it my flower world, because I don't choose to bring all that other stuff in. Now, this is my confession. Because after we finished the book, and after we finished, several days, a number of days of our confinement period, I began to think, when I learned particularly that it has been extended, maybe I need to find out what's going on in the rest of the world more. So I got on Facebook more and more, and I started reading news accounts, all of the news accounts, and my energy level began dropping and dropping. Along with it, my passion, which is probably why I drew the Crusader card this morning, because my energy level, my passion, my joy in every moment seemed to be diminishing. I actually felt depressed. And then I realized that right above depression, right below depression, right in there with it is fear. Fear, anxiety, depression, they're all linked together. So it's important for us, each one, to rise up out of that fear by whatever means we have. For me, I found that breathing in the oils, applying, I always have my 11 oils of rainbow healing very close. I can pull out any one at any moment and apply it and breathe it in, I do this multiple times daily, that is going to be huge for me. If it is carrying around a crystal, these fluoride crystals that those of us in APAC had the opportunity to get this month in March, are anchor this energy. I have been holding them in my hands, carrying them, rubbing them with the sacred mountain, applying sacred mountain to myself, because that also holds that frequency of the sacred space, intending, visualize that sacred space as I apply the oil and breathe it in every single time. At that point, my energy level seems to rise and I feel joy again. Joy that was not present when I was reading all the negativity, when I was focusing on things that are beyond my control. I was not riding the wave. The wave's going to come whether we're ready for it or not, as any surfer or anyone who's ever been in the ocean can tell you. They're going to come, they're going to keep coming. Which is the best one to ride? Who knows? We grab the wave that comes to us, and we find the positive result of being above the wave rather than fighting against it. As you journal, you will understand more about what change, what new breath of life you are choosing to have in your life. Holding on to what was there is not going to help change. It's like trying to jump across a river without leaving one bank. You can't get to the other side unless you allow yourself to remove and to move your foot from that first side. Now, as I was journaling, I happened to flip back to a previous page when I was looking for my refinement list, and I was reminded of something that Stephen says all the time. He says, he loves to talk about increasing and reducing, which is essentially the same thing as, well, what I will choose to have in my life and what I choose not to allow in my life. So increase tolerance will reduce stress. Okay? I think that's a really good one. Of course, reducing stress is something that most of us deal with often. Do we ever master it? Probably not. I am not exactly your calmest person, although the more time I spend in my sacred space, the calmer and more balanced I am. That's a huge word, balance. The next thing that my eyes fell on that were Stephen's words were increase strength, reduce vulnerability. Okay. To me, that was key. It was key so much that I actually wrote the words backwards so that I could show them to you to really make an impact, as visual is always more impressionable than just hearing something. I don't know if you can read these. Increase strength, reduce vulnerability. That to me was like, wow. How am I going to increase my strength right now so that I can get up on top of this wave and ride it in a positive way? Well, your way may not be my way. That's what is so perfect about this particular opportunity. We can each find our own way to rise above the chaos, to stay above that, riding that wave valiantly, as opposed to fighting against it or just being buffeted along wherever it takes you. So I will leave you with this today. Determine the kind of wave that you choose to have in your life. And truly believe that you can have those things that you choose to have in your life. And you also can eliminate the things that you just don't choose to allow to be there, to bother you. And if it is visualizing yourself in this sacred space, place yourself there. Close your eyes, breathe in your favorite essential oil, or I love to breathe in, as I said, the sacred mountain, as I'm visualizing this beautiful space where nothing is causing problems for me, where everything is harmony, my flower world. So I hope you all have an absolutely beautiful week, determining which wave you're going to catch, how you're going to catch it, and learning more about who you are. And I'll see you next week.